live. Oh, it's good to be back.
Yo.
So,
Who's this guy? Who's this guy over here?
I'm back. It took me a few weeks. I had to take a little break, you know. Hey, listen, man. When you hustle, you gotta. Sometimes you gotta give yourself a little vacation. You know what I mean? I was in Florida.
Absolutely.
I had dealing with the in-laws for a few weeks. You know, that's always good and bad. But real quick, if you were waiting in the train traffic, the fuck is that noise?
Oh, that would be my entire town's on fire again, apparently, because fire trucks love driving past my house with blaring sirens. Sorry about that, everybody.
Do they not know
That's
that we're having
fire.
a podcast right now?
Yeah, I know. I put a complaint in with the town that they were constantly messing up my podcast, but
They better do something about it. You're a big deal. They need to notice. You're a big deal.
See, this is where I would do the train wreck gif. It would pop up right now.
Well, so just speaking of the train wreck, since we're pretty much known to be a train wreck here, I was thinking that we got to do something a little more unique for us, and I kind of want to take a picture, maybe of all of us, like individually of us, kind of like making just a face, shrugging our shoulders or whatever, and animate it so it pops out like the toasty guy from Mortal Kombat. And anytime
Nice.
something happens, I just want to hit a button and have it come out and just be like train wreck, like just do it over and over again.
I like it. I like it.
That'll happen. That'll happen one day. Welcome to the Theater Room Podcast. Oh, I have the wrong title. I gotta fix that part. Let me fix that.
I hear you.
I fix it though. Look how fast I can fix things now. I'm starting to make things better, make things nicer. We have a bunch of shit to talk about. I know you guys went over all the D23 announcements from last week, so we're not.
It was a lot.
Because that was a long episode. There's a lot of stuff. It's on YouTube if you haven't watched it. Definitely dive in because they went kind of deep on some of the topics and some of the releases. We have a lot of games to look forward to, a lot of movies to look forward to. But I figured today, since I'm back after a few weeks, let's catch up on the shows. Cobra Kai just came out on Netflix. Season 5 might be the last season, so we got to talk about that. She-Hulk, I think we're 2 episodes behind on the reviews. A lot of information there. House of the Dragon is 5 episodes deep now, I think, or it's 4 episodes, I think.
5.
And, 5 episodes then, and then Ring of Power. We missed a couple of episodes, and that's not including the millions of other shows that are out there, like C on Apple TV. There's just a whole bunch of stuff. Rick and Morty. I haven't even watched any Rick and Morty yet.
So it's phenomenal. It's this last episode was insane.
There's so much to
absolutely insane.
Honestly, even What We Do in the Shadows, I haven't watched, and I'm a big fan of that show.
Yeah.
There's just so much things. I did end up watching Top Gun Maverick and Jurassic World Dominion, I think it's called, the third one.
Okay.
So I figure I'll kind of start. I can let you guys know if you guys watch those 2. I know you guys love Maverick. I know, because I'm the odd man.
I've watched both of them. Yep.
I love Top Gun. I haven't yet to see Maverick, but I'm excited to.
Oh my god.
So I would lump Maverick. I watched it on the plane on the way back from Florida. I would lump Maverick in with the very first Top Gun. It's a good movie. Is it some like groundbreaking thing, or did it get me all hyped and excited? Not really.
All right. Well, you watched Maverick on probably the worst possible way to watch Maverick.
It's
Right.
Enough.
Yeah, I mean, like you're listening through earbuds on a screen that's 3 inches big. You know what I mean? That movie was made for the theaters.
Yeah.
It's made for the theaters.
I'm so pissed I didn't see it in the theater.
There's not much about it that to me was like, oh, I wish I saw this on the big screen. Like I just don't.
I'll tell you right now, I saw it in IMAX, and you feel like you're in that fucking jet with them. You know.
Real quick, what's up, Buttersworth? Thanks for jumping into the.
Yo, Butters.
Podcast. As always, it's great to have you in the chat. We're talking Top Gun Maverick. I don't know, man. I just fighter pilots and fighter jets just don't do it for me. Apparently, I just can't.
I guess so, because
I mean,
pretty badass.
listen, it was one of the best action movies I've ever seen. I'm not gonna lie.
See,
like as far as like,
better than John.
I'm telling you.
That's saying a lot, dude.
No, I mean, like, listen, it's a different type of action movie. Like, you know what I mean? This John Wick is like a shoot 'em up type of action movie. This is like old school Hollywood stunts action movie.
See, to me, it was
right?
more. It wasn't even that much action. I mean, it's a good movie in the sense that the drama part of it was decent, but the only action, scene, it's not really a major spoiler alert, Fred. But the only major action scene that I would count as like an action scene is the last, like, say, 15 minutes of the movie, maybe. Otherwise, it's a lot of just training and stuff, which is fine. But
I mean, but that's what the original Top Gun was too.
Yeah, and that's probably why I was.
I mean, I'm using action movie. I'm using action movie in the old school Hollywood sense of the term.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When they did these big set piece stunts and really like very little CGI and figured out how to get the planes to do
half the time he's flying the jet. Like
yeah.
I did watch,
Yeah.
speaking of that, I did watch a like an experts react, like former fighter pilots react to.
I seen
from
that.
the movie, and all
Yeah.
they did was laugh because you could tell that he was in the back seat and someone else was flying the jet over and over again.
Yeah.
Even though they bragged that he flew it. I mean, listen, you could tell that it's as much practical effects. You know what I mean? Like that, it's not just all CG. They're actually in jets and they're doing their thing and all stuff.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was entertaining. It definitely got me a little hyped up at the end during the last action scene. But I just don't. I'm glad I didn't see it in theaters. I'm glad I didn't spend money on it.
But I mean, like, isn't Tom Cruise really like the last big Hollywood star?
Well, I mean,
like Hollywood star, not like movie star, but like not the last big actor, but like the last big like movie star. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
would argue the Rock is probably at the same level as Tom Cruise.
I don't know about that.
The Rock makes more money than Tom Cruise now.
I don't think he does, to be honest with you.
Maybe not just from the movies. The Rock makes more money just in general.
Yeah, he moves in other ways.
They definitely pay. Yeah.
One Shot is in the chat. What's up, man? Thanks for
what up, dude?
All hopped up on painkillers, jumping into the chat with us. Appreciate it. I don't know. It's a bold statement to say that Tom Cruise is the last major Hollywood star. I mean, listen, I love Tom Cruise. I'm not one of these haters. I think he's a phenomenal actor. He makes good shit. He's entertaining to watch. So, fine. Buttersworth says Keanu is up there with Tom Cruise. I would argue that Keanu would be considered a Hollywood star, but I don't know that he's on the same level as Tom Cruise.
No, but what I mean by Hollywood movie star is like Tom Cruise embraces being a Hollywood movie star. Like Keanu kind of hides from that. Keanu does a lot of like weird charity work, gives most of his money that he makes on movies away. You're
thinking like more of like a Brad Pitt style.
Yeah, like a move, like the last like Hollywood movie star. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where that's a Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah.
It's not like a Top Gun movie. That's a Tom Cruise movie. You know what I mean?
But I see, with that definition, I would still argue that The Rock is probably at the same level as Tom Cruise.
Oh, bro, you just love Dwayne, bro.
I'm talking facts, though. I mean,
you do.
Every movie he makes does $1 billion.
Black Adam's going to be his favorite movie.
No, like there's a difference. Like he's The Rock in every movie he does.
All right.
Every movie that Tom Cruise does becomes a Tom Cruise movie.
That's the same thing. Every movie The Rock
it's not the same thing.
Movie.
It's not the same thing.
You're saying the same thing in two different ways.
No, it's not. It's not. Because The Rock can't help but be The Rock.
Every movie The Rock does is a Rock movie, and every movie Tom Cruise
does
is a Tom Cruise movie. You're right. It's two different things. I mean,
no. Every movie The Rock's in, he plays The Rock. The movie isn't The Rock. He plays The Rock in every movie he's in. Every movie that Tom Cruise is in becomes a Tom Cruise movie.
Well, but if that's the case, then would you consider
like Black Adam becomes Black Adam with The Rock? It doesn't become a Rock movie.
Would you consider Tom Hanks then on the same level as Tom Cruise?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, he gets lost in those characters. You know what I mean? Brad Pitt.
I guess.
Would you consider him at the same level as Tom Cruise?
He's in a lot of ensemble stuff.
What about Idris Elba?
It just might be up there.
There's a lot of actors up there that Denzel has got to be up there.
Denzel.
Yeah, but I mean, like, but Denzel's not out there flying fighter jets right now. You know what I mean?
Tom Cruise is racist and didn't invite him to the movie.
like Mission Impossible 19's coming out soon, and Tom Cruise is gonna duct tape himself to a helicopter upside down.
Tom Cruise movies are very large in scale. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's because
he was like what 54 when he hung onto the side of an airplane that took off.
He gets so much credit for that, but he had a wire harness. I mean, come on now.
I mean, of course he had a wire harness. They're not insane, But
he is a little insane. That's for sure. But anyway, before we go on another tangent, those are my thoughts on Maverick. And then I also saw. Did you guys watch Jurassic World 3?
I did. I
Not
watched
yet.
it.
What a garbage movie.
Yeah,
I heard it was
was.
bad.
It's just
I heard it was bad.
it's just so
Yeah.
slow. I would argue that there's probably about 10 minutes of actual like Jurassic worlding in it, and then the
Yeah,
rest is like
it's
some weird Bond plot to take over like the world essentially. Like
yeah. Chris Pratt all of a sudden became James Bond,
Yeah.
and he's like stopping like this world like ending
yes,
corporate
one
maniac.
shot.
I don't know.
Carmine does have a, new mic, and
Yes.
Fred. The plot for Jurassic World 3 is that Dotson, I think Dodson or Dotson, he was the guy who basically hired Nedry to steal the embryos in the very first one. Now, using his company, wants to he engineered these like locusts or whatever that are destroying crops, so he can like own the crop business of the world. Like it's legit a James Bond.
Because he invented the
villain.
same one seed that they won't eat.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's just the most ridiculous thing in the world. Like it's not about dinosaurs, even though they keep building it up. They kept building it up for 3 movies now about dinosaurs getting let loose and finding a way to survive. It's not about that at all. It's about them stopping an evil scientist essentially from trying to take over the world.
I'll tell you though, like Jurassic Park movies, I don't really go there for the plot of them. I go to see dinosaurs doing cool shit, and this had less dinosaurs doing cool shit than like any other Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah. So not only was it not about dinosaurs in general, but they had less dinosaurs. They did have a bigger variety of dinosaurs, and they added feathers to some of them. The looks were pretty creative, but it was always so few and far between each shot that it was just a very boring movie. Like, so
they just shoehorned like 6 plots into one, and then they all converged on like the same scenario, which just made no sense. But
and even getting the original cast back really added nothing to the movie at all. It was 2 different plots.
Really?
Yeah, like the OG cast has one storyline, the new cast has another storyline, and then they sort of connected at one point. It didn't make any sense why they connected.
And then there's a third storyline going on with the clone daughter, and
one of them talk about a Quan Ha. That's gonna be a phrase now. The Quan Ha of the movie. That was
Quan Ha.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Like I know the last one that they made was kind of like all right, but at least it showed us like velociraptors riding a T-Rex in the battle.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
like they tried to get creative and get exciting.
Like the buddy cop movie of the T-Rex and the velociraptor being like, we're on the same side. Let's kill this bigger dinosaur. You know, I was down for that. You know what I mean?
If you have Paramount, it's worth watching Jurassic World 3 or Dominion for free, included. But if you don't have it, it's absolutely not worth paying for it to watch that movie. It's okay if you miss it. And it did make money in theaters, so I'm sure they'll come out with a Jurassic World 4 or whatever they call it, Jurassic Park: The Return, or whatever they want to fucking call the next one. So it's gonna be something.
We're gonna try it one more time.
Yeah. Just before we get into some of the reviews, I just wanted to kind of point out tomorrow is Andor on Disney Plus. It's the first 3 episodes, and it already from the early reviews are comparing it to like basically like Jason Bourne in a Star Wars setting, much more gritty, no Jedi, no magic, all about the war. And a lot of like espionage kind of stuff, which is awesome. And it's 12 episodes. So it's not 6 like they've been doing. It's a full 12 episodes. We're getting 3 tomorrow, and then I believe it's 1 episode a week every Wednesday.
I don't know if you saw the D23 footage, but we announced it last week on the podcast also that it's actually going to in total be 24 episodes.
Yeah.
They're splitting it into 2 12-episode parts.
I did see that. So we're in the first 12 episodes, I guess, now, and next year will be the next 12.
I think it's going to be faster than that because they're filming it now.
Yeah.
The sad news, though, is that Diego Luna, I think his name is, the one who's playing the main character who plays Cassian Andor, he has already confirmed that once this is over, this is his last time in a Star Wars property.
But we kind of figured that.
Well,
but we kind of figured that because they're going to kill him off.
Yeah, but he dies in Rogue One. I mean, if it does well, I wouldn't mind seeing more of him.
I mean, the way I'm looking at this whole, because it's 24 episodes, I'm assuming this goes directly into Rogue One.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. You
know what I'm saying? So we kind of assumed that was what the plot of this was going to be, was like a prequel of Rogue One, you know?
Well, they kind of announced that a while back. I guess when they announced that, you figure that, right? But anyway,
so it makes sense that he won't be coming back, though.
So that starts tomorrow, and then they also, I don't know if you guys saw this news, Tony Stark himself, Robert Downey Jr., is going to be voicing Tony Stark again in the next season of What If. So that's a pretty baller announcement for that season. I'm excited for that. We also have just coming up, October's right around the corner. Halloween Kills. Well, now that's something that's worth paying for Paramount Plus for. That's coming out October 14th, I believe. And then on the TV front, The Challenge is coming back on October 12th, which I'm a fan of. So
I can't wait. I'm a big Challenge fan.
We should do a Challenge podcast separately because I love that. I love that show. I've been watching
I'm
that for
totally
years.
down.
Werewolf by Night is 2 weeks away too. I think, isn't it? Yeah.
Holy shit! Is that already coming?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that fast.
No, you weren't on the podcast last week. Did you watch the trailer for it?
I did watch the trailer for it, and it looks
What'd you think?
campy and just baller AF. I was so into the feeling of it. My fear though is that the trailer had a certain kind of feel, and the show itself is going to feel different. I love the kind of campy horror. It looked so good in the trailer, and I'm hoping they stick to that style and feeling when the show actually comes out.
And we don't know what the show is actually going to be. Like if it's going to be like a 4-episode show, or if it's just going to be one like hour, 15-minute long special.
Right.
So we're not really sure what we're getting from it either. So we got to wait and see.
For a property like that, though, I'm wide open as far as like, I have no expectations really. Just let them give me what they give me. It's one of those things where even with the MCU getting to the level that it's at, or that it was at during Infinity War and Endgame, Werewolf by Night was never a property that I ever thought would be coming to anything
100%.
Related to live
the
action.
Motherfucking Man Thing's in it, bro.
That's I'd always, to me, that was always that, and Midnight Suns and all that stuff was always something that was like, it existed strictly for the comic books. We weren't going to see it. Don't even expect it.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with anything. So for those kind of things, do whatever the hell you want. I'm not going to sit there and be like, well, it's got to follow the comics. Just, I'm happy that we're even getting it. Yeah. So,
Well, that's what we talked about last week. It seems low stakes. It seems like it's there to just be fun. Like it's not going to like expand the universe.
That's exactly
or anything
what I want from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's what it should be.
Right. So, speaking of Marvel, since we're already on the Marvel thing, let's talk She-Hulk. We have 2 episodes that we have to kind of discuss. Episode 4, I guess, with Wongers.
Wongers!
Is it official now that we can all call him Wongers? Because I really love that nickname.
I'm telling you, Madison with 2 N's and a Y, and it's not where you think, is my favorite new Marvel character of all time. She deserves her own movie.
I'm with you, Fred. I don't really agree. She got on my nerves so much.
The show is getting worse by the episode.
I think it's getting better, man. I love this show so much right now.
So,
it's so much fun. Like, it's just fun.
I'm kind of right in the middle of both you guys. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's getting worse exactly, Fred, but I do think it's not getting any better, if that makes any sense. The CG is basically the same. So, at this point, it's just a part of the show. You got to kind of accept it.
It doesn't bother me nearly as much, though.
It doesn't bother me that much. It's one of those things where
Episode 3, we talked about this. Episode 3 really, it was really noticeably bad. But then, 4 and 5 came out, and, I barely noticed it.
My thing is that, so Spartacus is
I noticed it.
Spartacus is my favorite show of all time, right? And I couldn't argue with you that the CG in there is fantastic. It became a kind of a part of the show's blood. Everything, the hyper realized CG, the hyper realized blood and crowd and all that stuff was kind of became a part of it. And if they tried to make it realistic, it wouldn't have looked right. So I liked that aesthetic. I feel like that's kind of what I'm dealing with She-Hulk, is that everything has this just slight cartoony look. So if that's the look of the show, fine. That's going to be the look of the show. My problem is we all know that at some point She-Hulk's going to be in the movie. And when she's in the movies, you know that they're going to give her that movie budget and it's going to look unbelievable. So that's, I guess, where I get a little frustrated with it.
Well, somebody also brought this up. I was watching a review of something, and there's a strong possibility that in 6 months they go back and patch.
Yeah, well, Disney's they've been doing that, right? They've been kind of revisiting the old shows and fixing certain things. And
speaking of that, a lot of people are hating what they did to Thor: Love and Thunder. Not to get off She-Hulk.
Thor: Love and Thunder?
They redid the CGI of Hemdall's son when he's like his head is floating and talking to Thor and stuff like that.
Oh,
they like redid the CGI head and it made it look worse. Apparently,
see,
I don't know.
I didn't even notice.
The problem is, I don't really think anybody complained about that when the movie came out. So why go back and touch it?
Yeah.
Like that's
Right.
like somebody.
That's. I think that's the point why people are pissed off or complaining. I should
that
say.
people are complaining about. That's perfectly fine with me. But to go back and touch something because maybe you're the graphics, the special effects guy that worked on it, and you just weren't happy with it, it's like if nobody's complaining about it, leave it alone. Don't even bother.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm assuming that they're going to go back and patch She-Hulk though. Like,
I'm sure they
and
will.
Then once they get a movie budget behind it, and they have more time to like really flesh out the CGI of her, I'm sure she's going to look just as good as Bruce.
I'm actually curious.
I hope so.
Know, once she gets her outfit, once she gets her actual superhero outfit, which is what they talked about in the last episode, if that's going to somehow be a big improvement. Because a part of it is that she's wearing regular clothes. She's around a lot of humans. Like, you know, I guess when you're seeing this big green person next to another person, everyone's wearing regular clothes, it stands out. But again, so that doesn't bother me that much though, because it's just the DNA of the show. The episodic format where each episode kind of just is its own thing and there's no overarching storyline, that's fine. I'm still anticipating that at some point in the last, say, 3 episodes.
Well, I mean, there's a couple of overarching plot points that they're
little things, but you know,
little things. But I
mean,
mean,
comedy doesn't bother me. I'm more than okay with the comedy. It's, you know,
I think it's pretty funny. Like, she makes me laugh. The assistant, who's played by Ginger Gonzaga,
she's good.
She's really good. You know what I'm saying?
The supporting cast is great overall. I think.
The supporting cast is great overall. You know, I think she's super likable as She-Hulk also. Like, as both She-Hulk and Jennifer Walters. Like, I think she's super likable. I like her as an actress. I like her in the role. You know, it's a really fun show to me.
It's a fun show for sure,
and we're having fun with it. You know what I mean? Like the last 2 episodes, that's what I was thinking about watching. I was just like, this is amazing because it's like, you know, you got Madison coming in, calling them wongers. They're hanging out on the couch together. Oh my god, I loved every second of it. You know, Wong sitting there trying to watch like The Sopranos.
Like, I think they kind of they pushed her a little too much. I'm kind of with you, Fred, with that character. I felt like, you know, it was fine when they introduced her. You know, then they kind of dropped her into Wong's lap, and it was kind of like an eye roll.
Only thing I'm thinking of, like, they pushed her that hard because she's going to be something else down the road.
I hope not. Or I hope.
Yeah, me too.
But she'll be Wong's girlfriend by the end of this thing.
Hot. All right.
I hope not. I hope Wong's not.
It'd be amazing.
I do.
I hope that was the last time we ever saw.
I am. I guess my biggest disappointment, honestly, though, was the Abomination. Not so much that he's not like a major villain in the show, but it seems like he's done. Like, you know, they teased him.
His arc is over.
No, there's going to be another episode with him.
No, but I'm talking about like just as a player in the MCU. I was expecting him to be in Thunderbolts and all that stuff, and I guess there is a chance they still surprise us with him. But like, it seems like he's fully reformed, and Abomination is no more. Like,
this shit all over the Thunderbolts.
It's just like, yeah, like the Thunderbolts is probably the most.
I'm gonna be going down a Thunderbolts rant right now. My head's already.
That'll be a separate combo, I guess.
Yeah, I can't because I already put up like 6 TikToks about how bad that Thunderbolts lineup is. Like,
I did like the little tease of the Daredevil helmet at the end, although all signs point to Daredevil being a brand new version of the character that has nothing to do with the Netflix show, which kind of upsets me because.
But didn't the old designer, like, wasn't he helping Daredevil's enemy and all that stuff? So it kind of makes sense for him to pick someone else to make his suit.
Not really. So in the original show, I can't think of the guy's name now.
Melvin Potter.
Melvin Potter.
Yeah, Potter.
He's the gladiator.
Creating the suits for Kingpin, and then Daredevil basically was like, "Oh, I need you to create something for me," and he basically said, instead of Kingpin, like, protecting your wife or whatever, I'll do it and make the suits for me. Don't make it for him anymore. And by season 3, that's basically what it was. Is he wasn't working for Kingpin. He was basically working for Daredevil, and that was their agreement. So he wasn't really a bad guy. He was more of like, you know, just a little misunderstood and kind of like taken advantage of.
Mike's dying on us.
Yeah, your mic's dying on us there.
My mic is?
It was.
Oh no. I'm dying. I'm gonna kill everybody. How about now?
Yeah.
Trainwreck.
How's the sound now? Does it sound good?
Yeah.
Now,
Better.
now you're good. You're good.
Okay.
You're back up.
But anyway, yeah, like so having a new designer for the Daredevil outfit really kind of makes me nervous. That not nervous, but it kind of confirms even more that it's not going to be the follow up to what we had before.
I think that they are going to be doing that. The Netflix shows were all a different universe.
That's what I'm feeling too. And Charlie Cox even said in an interview, he made a comment that that this is a different Daredevil. That it's basically taking what was there before. He's going to be more lighthearted, more relaxed, more kind of like been doing it for a while. And I'm not saying that he doesn't need to get to that point, but I really want them. I wish or hope that they would establish like the connection first before pushing him in that direction. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm still excited.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like it's still Charlie Cox as Daredevil. It's still Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin.
Yeah.
I think Fred. I saw you posted on Facebook that John Bernthal. There's a strong rumor that he's reprising Punisher for the Born Again show.
Yeah.
All good things, but what's the point of bringing back the old actors to play the characters if it's going to be a completely different character? Essentially,
I agree.
Like that's just fan service.
It makes zero sense to just abandon what they already did.
It doesn't make zero sense. I'm going to tell you why. I have a funny feeling that they are unable to get the rest of the Defenders back. So for them to bring in Charlie Cox and Kingpin, who basically are the best parts of the Defenders from Netflix, right?
Right.
Like they're the two, right? Everybody else is kind of like whatever. Barenthal, I'd even say, is the Punisher also.
Yeah.
Because I love him as the Punisher. But so those three are like the ones. You can kind of recast the rest of them. Maybe not Jessica Jones, because
I wouldn't recast Jessica Jones.
I wouldn't either,
Iron
but
Fist
they
is
may
the
be
only
able
one
to
you
come
can
to
recast.
Yeah, you can. Listen, I love Mike Coulter as Luke Cage, but you could recast him. You could recast him.
Yeah, you probably could.
You know what I'm saying?
You probably could.
And more than likely is they can't come to terms with contracts with those people, so they're gonna have to recast them eventually. So is it better to just be like, all right, those are a separate universe. This is the Daredevil from this universe, and we're gonna recast these people and show you a whole new side of the Defenders.
I just want. My problem is, and I'll fight anybody for this. As far as comic book TV shows go, Daredevil, and specifically Daredevil season 3, is probably the best comic book TV show we've gotten. It's just
it's one of the best things that Marvel's ever done.
100%. The build up with him facing up against Kingpin, the build up for Bullseye first wearing the suit. I mean, the fight scenes are like, it's just the most fantastic, probably as close to the perfect Marvel show that we could get, that we've gotten. And to not follow up on that particular show.
Oh, that was it. It was Potter made the suit for Bullseye.
No, Bullseye stole Daredevil's suit.
Oh, he stole it? I thought he made it.
No.
Potter made it for him.
No, he stole it and then started wearing it to try and ruin Daredevil's name. And then Daredevil went back to the black suit basically because he was beyond needing armor. So I don't know. I mean, listen, again, I'm excited to see Charlie Cox back as Daredevil, and that's this week coming up. I mean, that's 2 days from now we're gonna see it. So I'm excited about it, but it's a little disappointing that it's not.
Do you think we're getting it in the next episode?
I would hope so. I mean, they showed us the helmet this episode. I kind of feel like with the way the pacing has been so far with the She-Hulk show, they're going to go right into Daredevil for the next episode or two.
Maybe.
It seems like we're getting a cameo for 2 episodes at a time, and then maybe at the end they'll all kind of converge and, we'll get them back. It was Hulk for 2 episodes, Abomination for 2 episodes.
Who's trying to steal her blood?
Well, that's
is it going to be Val? Is it going to be, a new character? Like,
I'm curious who's that going to be because, just speaking of the Hulk in general, so the leader has been confirmed to be the villain for Captain America New World Order, which is... Oh, I'm sorry, wait. Is that the next Captain America? New World Order, I think it is, right?
New World Order, yeah.
Which is interesting to me because the leader was introduced in the Incredible Hulk movie. So I thought it was going to be the leader was trying to get her blood in She-Hulk. So now I don't know what they're going to do. Unless, She-Hulk could connect to Captain America. Especially the fact that it's a law show. Possible. Maybe Captain America's going to need her in his show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe.
But so that was my guess. But I think we'll find out. Maybe it's just Kingpin. Maybe we're finding out.
I think it's going to be Val.
I think it's Val too.
It could,
or
yeah.
Sharon Carter.
Sharon Carter would make sense. That's already been established. That would make sense. It could be Val.
Yeah.
You're saying so that she can maybe create a big bruiser like that for the Thunderbolts.
No, they're not going to do that. They're going to give us 3 super soldiers and 3 assassins, and so stupid. So stupid.
Now I know how to get under Carmine's skin. Next time you're playing Warzone,
Oh my God.
I'm gonna just keep messaging you.
If you want to,
Thunderbolt sagas.
if you want to destroy like
Thunderbolt
25 minutes of this podcast right now, just keep it up because like I will go off.
Well, anyway, now we're off Marvel because I don't want him to go. I don't want him to go off.
Lose my mind over this.
So wait, what set you off more then, Marvel, or if we start talking about DC?
I just don't want to talk about the Thunderbolts, bro. Like I'm gonna lose my mind.
All right.
Go on to DC. Let's do it.
No, we'll move on. Well, there's nothing for DC. I mean, Black Adam comes out.
Okay.
You know, we've talked about that till God knows when. You know, I want to be excited for it. As we said earlier, I'm a big fan of The Rock, but
I'm sure it's gonna be a fun movie.
I think it's gonna be fun. I'm more excited for Dr. Fate. I want to see what he does.
yeah, I agree with that. I think Dr. Fate is a much more interesting character.
Huh?
I just don't like.
He's gonna be in it for like 12 minutes.
I hope not.
He better not be. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. To be honest.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like it's
honestly the only thing that would make it worth it to me is if they go full multiverse because of the Flash and like 900 versions of The Rock pop out. Like we see Scorpion King fighting Black Adam, fighting the guy from Godzilla, fighting the Jumanji Rock.
The Rockverse.
The Rockverse. Maybe that's what they've been teasing this whole time when they keep saying it's a new universe for the DCEU. There'll be comic books and spin-offs, you know, a new football stadium. But anyway, so let's move on to some other shows here. We're behind on a few shows. So House of the Dragon, I caught up. Are you guys caught up on House of the Dragon?
Yes, sir.
I'm up to 4. I missed 5.
So let's start with you, Fred, since you're the resident Game of Thrones hater. I don't even know if I would call you a hater. You just weren't a fan of it. Well, what are you thinking now? 5 episodes into House of the Dragon. How you feeling?
I'm loving the show. I'm fully on board of what this show has to offer. I don't know why I couldn't latch on to the old one, but for what they're doing and how they're introducing all these new characters, because they're all new to everyone because it's a prequel.
Yep.
So how they're handling these characters and moving the story along, the pacing, I'm just loving what they're doing. And Matt Smith is crushing.
He's killing it. He's so
Absolutely
fantastic as that character. As Damon
the show,
Targaryen.
bro.
And you haven't watched episode 5 yet, right?
I have not.
Episode 5 is good. I
So
feel like
good in it.
I feel like so the whole point of this show, the House of the Dragon, is that it's basically the Targaryen civil war, right? So it's a big battle for who takes over the throne, essentially, in the Targaryen bloodlines across the different families. But when we were going into the show, I was afraid that they were just going to dive right into that conflict. I love that this whole season, it seems like, is really just about this whole season is essentially the prelude to what the actual story is. So if you like what you're seeing now, I feel like you're gonna absolutely love it when they get into the actual battle.
Well, I think we're going to be getting into it much sooner than you think because there's about to be another time jump.
Yeah, but we're only got 3 more episodes left? No, 4 more episodes left, maybe. There's not a lot.
Yeah, the time jumps are crazy.
I think.
Oh, this is going to be a big one too. It's like they said it's like a 10-year jump
Yeah,
or
they're
something
doing a
like
big
that.
one.
Jesus.
I think this next episode we're gonna get Rhaenyra and Alicent are gonna be played by 2 new actresses that because they're gonna be much older. But I don't think they're gonna be full blown in the war yet.
That's a shame because she killed it as Rhaenyra.
She killed it.
Yeah,
That really is a shame because she owned that role and I feel like I would have preferred them just kind of maybe dress her up a little bit to make her look a little older.
Maybe like age her up a little bit.
Maybe just not do a 10-year time jump and just
Well, that's a little funny that they're doing that because in the Game of Thrones books, I mean, like when you're 12, you're basically an adult. You know what I mean at that time frame.
Yeah.
So like you have to be willing to step up and grow up and all that kind of shit. So they didn't have to They didn't have to jump ahead like that to age these characters up. I guess they just want the passage of time going.
I actually hate that now that I know that she's getting replaced.
I think the real reason is because like all the babies that were born essentially have to have a role to play, and you can't have an infant get involved. Yeah. So they need them to be a certain age.
Yeah, but they can age her up though. They can do something to make her look a little older.
I think so too. They didn't need to keep her looking young. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
That
or
makes
they can
no
just
sense.
you just play around the times a little bit, instead of having her be whatever age they want her to be, you just in this story she's a little younger. I mean, it's not, I don't
Well,
know, it's
that
fine.
actress crushed the princess, and she's getting shafted.
Well, I don't
getting
think.
replaced.
I think there's going to be once they do the big time jump, which I believe is this next episode coming up. They are going to go back and forth, so we're going to see scenes from when she's younger. So the actress
Are they?
is still gonna be
I
around.
didn't think they were.
For a little while, I believe they are. And honestly, I agree with you, Fred. The actress killed it. Something
Yeah,
Wilcox,
I mean,
I
she's
think is her name.
next to
I could see them adding
next to
scenes
Matt
because of it.
Smith.
Oh yeah,
Next to Matt Smith, she's my favorite.
Absolutely.
And that's only because Matt Smith is crushing Damon in this. Like,
but really,
and
there's
she
not
is
one bad
so
actor
good.
on the show.
No,
Every
No.
character is being done very well.
Yeah.
Corliss Valerian, the sea snake they keep calling him. I mean, he plays the character really well. His wife is like interesting. They've done a good job in just 5 episodes, in my opinion, of introducing, I don't know, 20 new characters that we have to kind of follow that are all going to be major players at some point, and making them all interesting. Every single one of them. Even the Lannisters they brought in episode, I think 3.
I know, man.
I'm like, the way that just the short scenes they had, I'm already like, I want to know more. Like, I want to see what you guys are about outside.
Yeah,
of
seeing.
this.
I mean, I know. I don't want to spoil anything for Fred, but like, seeing all the other houses show up at the wedding,
right.
like, I tell you. And now, Fred, just so you know, there's a thing with Game of Thrones and wedding episodes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
there's
I forget this.
chaos always happens at a wedding in Game of Thrones.
Well, you've heard of the Red
So
Wedding.
there's I've heard of that. Yeah. So there is a wedding in the next episode in 5.
And don't
Okay.
build it up in your head too much. It's not on the
It's
same
not.
level
It's nothing
as
like
what we're
insane,
describing.
but
It's kind of a known thing. There's the red wedding. There's a purple wedding. Every wedding has kind of like a thing that defines that
something
event.
happens at
Yeah.
every
Right.
wedding.
Well, if you guys want to
Okay.
dive in on 5, just give me a thumbs up when I'm good.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't have to. There's really not a lot to spoil.
Yeah.
Essentially,
It's not.
my one problem with the show so far is that we're 5 episodes in, and the problems we were dealing with in episode, say, 2 are still the problems we're dealing with. There hasn't been any much further.
What problem
development.
are you?
So episode 1 was
meaning?
all about whether or not who the king was going to name as his heir, right?
Right.
That was episode 1 and
Yeah.
2. By the end of episode 2, they named her as the heir, and the problem became: are the people going to accept a female queen to rule the kingdom, or should he name someone else? Should he get married and all that stuff? And we're still having the same arguments, the same conversations, the same. It's 4 episodes later.
So I disagree with that though,
What's
Yeah.
new?
because I mean he's been pretty stagnant about like she's his heir, but he wanted her to marry, and then the conversation switched from are people gonna care about a female ruler to who's she gonna marry? Then he was going back and forth on whether or not he wanted to let her choose her own mate for love, or if he should marry her off. That was all of episode 3 was basically that.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like the overall question is, like, how does the king, I should say, Viserys the First, how does he make sure that she is given like time to actually rule? And her question is, why won't people respect me just because I'm a woman?
See, but like that's not the theme to the show so far for me. I'm seeing something different. Like what I'm seeing is all this subtle infighting that's going on, that they're trying to like what Damon did to Rhaenyra in the 4th episode,
Mhm.
Where
right?
he brought her to a
make
brothel and left her there.
brought her to a
Right.
brothel and tried to, and
Discredit
he
her
did
name.
that.
Yeah.
He did just to discredit her name so that he can take over the throne and everything like that. But he also kind of loves her, and
See,
she also kind
this
of
is
loves
why
him.
Matt Smith is killing it, because he did
Yeah.
his whole role in episode 4.
Yeah,
Like,
it was nuts.
It's like you still don't know what his real motivation is. Does he just
Yeah.
want to be with her, and he didn't feel like he could be with her?
Yeah.
She's gonna be queen,
Yeah.
or
Or does he just
want
want
to
the
be king?
throne?
Right, like,
Yeah.
and he's believable in both. When you look at him in the eyes and the camera lingers on him for a second, you're literally like, what's the goal here? Like, tell me, man.
Yeah.
Like, but that's the whole point, though, right? You're not really supposed to know. Like, he does a phenomenal job with that.
Yeah, I feel like he's just leaving breadcrumbs of wanting the throne in every little thing he does.
Every smirk he makes, he really like.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody realized how slimy he could be while also being charming at the same time. He's like the Asher, in my opinion, from Spartacus. He's the Asher of this show, where it's like you kind of love to hate him, but you also root for him a little bit. Like, he's just that entertaining,
Yeah. But I mean, there's all that going on with him, and then you have all these other people that are now popping up to try and take on the throne, but they're not doing it in the the original Game of Thrones series. It was very upfront, right?
Well, it became very upfront.
It became very upfront.
Game of Thrones
right?
was at its best in the first four seasons, I should say, and that was all people making moves for making chess moves, and it was all about let me do this because four moves later I'll actually get some power out of it. Whereas as they got past the books, suddenly it became like, oh, I want the throne, and I'm gonna sail to the throne and tell the queen I want the throne, and be like, I'll fuck you or kill you, you tell me, and like it just didn't hit the same kind of notes.
But
This is doing it the right
even
way.
in the first season, the Lannisters were pretty upfront about like, we're gonna take the fucking throne. How are we gonna do this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess
from Baratheon and everything like that. So, like the first season, that's what they did. You know what I mean? Whereas like this is way more subtle. This is way more subtle.
It is. I mean,
like even the queen's father, like making her marry the king and give him a baby, and then now like what you saw in episode 5.
Yeah, don't spoil it for Fred. The show just aired,
so I
don't want to spoil it for anybody.
No, I wasn't gonna spoil it. You're good.
What?
He's not spoiling.
No, I wasn't gonna spoil it.
Oh,
I was gonna say, like, now what you see in episode 5, you see that motivations have changed. You know?
Yeah. I do. I still think though, out of the 5 episodes, the first jaw drop moment and the biggest jaw drop moment I had was when Otto Hightower, sent his daughter in there to basically seduce the king. It was just such a like out of nowhere moment because he seemed like such a good dude up until that point, and that's again a credit to the actor because he just played it so well that I was convinced that he was just.
Which one is that? Is that the hand?
Yeah.
They made him seem like he was like doing sly shit on the side behind the king's back. That's how I always saw him. Like he got something sneaky going on.
Originally in episode 1, I thought that he was just like maybe the king's buddy. He had a long history with him, and was just trying to do the right thing. And then he made that little comment to his daughter, and I was like, "You sneaky son of a bitch!" That definitely got me. But I will say, so Fred, let me ask you this question: is there a part of you now that wants to try and watch Game of Thrones again, to try and go back and watch that?
Kind of.
Get into it.
Kind of. I may just skip into deeper into season
Honestly,
1 maybe and go from there.
I would tell you to almost go, if you never watched anything past season 1, then I
never got past episode 1.
So really the major thing in season 1 of Game of Thrones is Ned Stark is killed by the end of the season. His kids basically are all in the wind. Each one of them is just trying to survive, and Robb Stark, his eldest son, declares war on the Lannisters because of it, and that's basically that's all you need to know.
Because they had his dad executed.
Because they had his dad. The Lannisters killed his dad. Yeah,
executed.
So like that's basically what you need to know. So I would almost say skip season 1 completely. Go to season 2, start there, because that's kind of really where it starts to pick up. Like that's where everyone now is on their own, trying to figure out how to survive, what to do next, and all that stuff. And that's where really all the characters start to come into their own. The Jaime Lannister gets his own stuff. You meet Brienne, like the Hound gets his own storylines. Like that's where I feel like Game of Thrones really starts to pick up. And then for me, season 3 and on is just excellent up until season 7. And then season 7 and 8 are worth watching once, but you can always stop.
It's worth watching just to see how it ends.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. But now going from one fantasy to the next, House of the Dragon, we just talked about 5 episodes in, and we'll go into full spoilers on episode 5 next week. How about Ring of Power? Let's you guys caught up on that?
Yes.
I'm gonna.
Oh, sorry, I just woke up from watching Ring of Power.
That's basically how I feel too. I almost fell asleep saying that, Carmine. I don't know. Listen, I love fantasy stuff. The witches, wizards, elves, orcs, like goblins, all that shit, sword fighting, the magic. All of it is cool. For some reason, when you put the words Lord of the Ring in front of it, I cannot get into it. And it's not to say I didn't like the old movies, but even those movies, I wasn't as much of a fan as a lot of people were. I mean, they were good, but were they, would I sit there and watch them again? No, it's just not worth it to me. I'll watch a couple
Most
seasons
overrated
here.
franchise of all time.
Oh, I'm not even gonna get into that again.
I mean, we don't have to get into a fight, but like, it's the same thing with this show. I want to like it. I want to like the show so much, but I can't. I just can't get into it. I can't
Episode 3 for me was my favorite of the season.
I will catch up. I've seen episode 1 so far. I will catch up. I promise you, I will. But like,
yeah, episode 1 was slow as shit.
There's also a lot on right now.
Whoa, I've seen molasses in wintertime move faster than this goddamn show, bro. Come on, man.
2 is better. 2 was better. 3 was awesome. 4 kind of started slowing down again, and yeah.
I mean, I want to like it. There's just something like, what's the word? Whimsical, I guess, about Lord of the Rings that I'm not a fan of. I clearly like the more grounded and kind of gritty fantasy stuff, but I just can't get into it. I think there's a lot of shows on too, so if I'm gonna sit there and watch a show, it's like I want to make sure I'm gonna enjoy it, and it's just not it. Ring of Power is just not it for me. I don't know what it is.
The most interesting character in that show is the male elf that was spoilers held captive by those fucking, I don't even know what they were.
They're orcs.
Yeah.
Is he the one that the internet is mad at because they cast a black person? Because God forbid you have black people in fantasy movies.
Yeah.
People were mad at that.
Yeah, they're mad that
people
he's
get
a
mad
black
at
elf.
everything, dude.
They
were mad at
that dude's fucking badass, man. He was awesome.
The black
he's
the black
actually
actor.
the only character that's worth anything in the entire show.
I know, and people are upset because
I like god damn it. The
show's so good, Fred can't even remember everybody's names.
No, bro, I'm terrible with names, man. I don't even know how.
The Hobbit, the Black Hobbit.
Not the
Hobbit.
No, the Hobbit. The what were they called? The something foots, the little foots, or something.
Half foots.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Half foots. Yeah.
They're annoying. I don't know.
I just don't. I don't know. I can't get into it. I don't know what
the fucking the little guy. Not the Hobbit, but
the orc. The
son?
The goblins or whatever. Not the goblins.
It's got the hilt of Sauron?
No. The ones building the elf.
Dwarf?
Yeah, dwarfs.
The dwarves.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Dwarves.
I
was trying to think of every other small person name I can think of.
Dude, I couldn't think of it. But anyways, the main dwarf guy, I like him a lot. I forget his name too.
I gotta watch this fucking show and just.
He has none of it. All he does is sit around talking to that main elf.
No, I like his attitude. His character has a good personality.
It's great. There's a lot of talking in this show. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Well, there's a lot of talking in House of the Dragon.
Yeah, but it's interesting. This is just talking.
But what's not interesting about it? Let me ask you that question, since you're really hating on it.
Because they're literally like, what was it? The second episode where the elf goes to meet the dwarf.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it was the third episode that they were sitting at the dinner table talking, and all they were doing was talking about their past relationship for 25 minutes of the show. And the elf is just like, oh, well, yeah, I know I haven't come to visit you in a while. I was like, oh, you haven't? I've got kids. You've never even. It was like watching two old women be like, oh, why haven't you?
I thought it was fun banter back and forth.
Phone works both ways, guy. Like,
dare I say that the Ring of Power show seems like to be Carmine. Like, the Ring of Power is to Carmine what the Batman was to me. Like, he does not want to like it.
I hate Ring of Power way more than you hated the Batman.
That's true, because I wouldn't say I hated the Batman. I mean, I just didn't think it was as good as everyone else.
Right now, the Ring of Power for me, as a show, if I had to rate it out of 10, is like a 4.5.
Wow.
It might be one of the most boring shows I've ever watched.
Serious shit there. I don't know.
I don't know about all that.
It's based off 4.5 because the visuals are actually really good. Like, I'll give credit where credit is due.
That's one of the reasons why I
The
want to keep
visuals are
watching it.
Yeah,
Visuals are really good. Yeah.
visuals are really good. I mean, I wish we
I'm
got
curious in a lot of the storylines, but there's definitely storylines that I don't give a shit about.
Right.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is there's like 8 storylines that no one gives a shit about. Like,
No, I just said there was. I do give a shit about some of them. There is some that I don't give a shit about.
and the other 12 storylines that are going on is the ones you give a shit about, but the other 8 out of the 20,
they're bouncing around too much between all the different types of people and tribes and whatever. Like, I mean, they're just it's.
Do you think it's possible that
too much?
There's not as many Lord of the Rings fans watching the show as there are Game of Thrones fans watching House of the Dragon? Whereas we knew what to expect with Game of Thrones, so once House of the Dragon came out, they don't need to slow down. They can kind of jump right into the multiple families and all that stuff.
Well, what we talked about last time, I think it was 2 weeks ago, me and Carmine had this discussion with John. We were saying that this was the worst time for Ring of Power to come out.
I don't disagree.
Because it's just gonna get overshadowed by a House of Dragon.
As good as it can be. Let's say it's just an unbelievable show. The anticipation for House of the Dragon was so high, and people were asking for it. I think the big problem is that nobody was really asking for a new Lord of the Rings show, or if they were asking for like the Lord of the Rings, the actual stories like told in a new way. Maybe they weren't asking for a prequel to Lord of the Rings. Whereas House of the Dragon, people were begging for more Game of Thrones stuff. So I agree with you. I think they kind of chose the wrong time. Plus, like,
I would have rather them done like the Hobbit movies
the right
as
way?
a series.
Wait,
no, as
movies
a series.
or cartoons? Because those what came out were just cartoons. They were garbage.
No, I mean, I'm talking about with Schmog and everything.
Yeah, horrendous. I don't count those.
No, they were bad.
Exist.
They were very bad. They were very bad. What I'm saying is, I would have rather them taken that story and redid it as a series.
Yes,
the right way.
I agree.
And then it would at least would have given us because now we're going further back into the mythos of Lord of the Rings, which how many more million years do we need to go back to where we're seeing the birth of elves as they're just we're elves and dwarves and no one cares.
How do elves give birth? Do they climb onto a beach somewhere, dig a hole, and pop a few eggs, and then just sit on them for a while?
Sea turtles?
Yeah, that's how I imagined it in my head. And then at one point they just walk away, and the baby elves are just left to fend for themselves. And if you survive, you make it as an elf.
I don't know, man. It's just there's no drama. There's no there's no there's no stakes for anything. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's just well, Sauron's coming. Sauron's coming back.
Right.
Sauron's coming back. Sauron's coming back. And it's just okay, Sauron's coming back. But you spent 5 episodes. What are we on? 5 episodes now?
4.
Should be 4. They're one episode behind House of the Dragon.
5 this week. Yeah. So you spent 4 episodes of no one believing that Sauron's coming back, even though there's nothing but evidence of orcs fucking everywhere. Right. No one still believes
actually having sex everywhere, or you're just saying they are everywhere.
I don't know. If they were actually having sex anywhere, I'd be more interested in the show.
Now, do they have to be related for you to get really interested in the show?
Oh, here we go. I knew this was coming. So John and Fred 2 weeks ago said the only reason that we all like Lord of the Rings so much is we love incest.
I will say, just not to go back to House of the Dragon, I was a little surprised. Not surprised because it makes sense for the show, but I wasn't sure if they were going to go the incest route, if they were going to kind of include that because times have changed. But I don't know how I felt about it. I mean,
they had no shame. They had no shame in that episode of going back to it.
Yeah, they went right back, and then they married her off to her cousin anyway.
Right in the end, she's still married to her family. So
yeah, so
I didn't get that far.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, sorry.
My bad.
I mean, all good.
Minor spoiler. That's not a major thing.
It's a very minor spoiler. It's not even a spoiler.
Put it this way:
they kind of show it to you in the.
That's just the catalyst for everything that happens in episode 5. So.
Yeah, they tell you at the end of episode 4 that it's going to happen, so you should know that. But yeah, so they doubled down on the incest in House of the Dragon. Maybe if there was more incest in Lord of the Rings, it would be a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe.
Right now, Ring of Power is quickly becoming a show that I want to wait until it's all out and then just binge the whole thing and get it over with, versus watching.
You're not going to make it. You're going to fall asleep every 20 minutes.
Hey, but you know, at least I'll get through it at some point. That'll be what puts me to sleep at night. You know,
it might take you longer to binge it than to watch it week to week.
Yeah. Honestly, though, I think the reason why I haven't gotten into it is because there's a lot of other shit out right now that I'd rather watch, and segue into Cobra Kai because that came out, and there was no way I was watching anything else besides Cobra Kai. Fred and I talked about Cobra Kai, man. I'm just a giant fan of Cobra Kai.
It's my favorite show.
It's the best example of taking an old school property, giving us something new out of it, and honoring the original while also giving us something that doesn't have to actually follow along the same footsteps. I love it so much. It's so good. I never forget when it first came out on YouTube Premium, or I think they called it YouTube Red at the time.
YouTube Red.
They released 2 episodes for free. They were basically like, even, you know, just watch it, and if you like it, you pay for YouTube Red. And a friend of mine was like, I would watch it because it actually was pretty good. So I watched it. I immediately paid for it, and then I kept paying for YouTube Red until season 2 came out. And I've just been
Dude, you know what I did? I hit the free trial. I signed up with an email address, hit the free trial, binged a whole season, canceled the thing, and then when season 2 rolled around, I just used a different email address and got another free trial. Because that was the only reason why you needed YouTube Red was for that Cobra Kai show.
Any other show that YouTube tried to come out with was garbage. This show was unbelievable, and I feel like this season was, in my opinion, probably the third best season of the show. Season 1 is still hands down the best season. I think it's just
this is up there with season 1. This is one of my this is my favorite, one of my favorite seasons.
Only because since season 2 was the direct follow up to season 1, it kind of edges it out, but it's very close because this season was awesome. Very good.
Season was from start to finish. I have no complaints of this season.
Yeah, and my biggest complaint is I hate Stingray, and this season redeemed him. I literally by the end of the season was like, all right, Stingray, you got me, man. You won. I want him in the show.
I have one complaint about this.
I have one also, actually.
So go ahead. I
wanted to see them at the big martial arts tournament.
Well, I guess that's
going to be season 6, man. That's going to be all season 6.
Yeah, I argue that it'll be season 6 and 7. Well, they didn't say it's done. No,
how's he gonna keep Cobra Kai alive?
Well, they wrote it in a way that they don't know if it's gonna be a season 6.
Kreese is back.
I mean, yes, Kreese could be back.
So,
but, I mean,
right.
and the karate tournament is overseas, so Kreese is gonna show up and he's gonna have his Cobra Kai or whatever. It's gonna be interesting with that.
They haven't officially announced season 6, so they clearly finished the show, in a way where if they don't do any more, it at least feels like it's, it was a good kind of send off.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure.
That's my problem with it, though.
I'm pretty sure Ralph said that there was going to be another season.
Well, no, he said it, but Netflix has not ordered another season.
Yeah, Netflix hasn't ordered it.
And in the end, they have to.
But they will, because
why wouldn't they? Right?
Yeah, it's their best show on.
It's so good. But so, Fred, what was your complaint about the show?
The whole thing with Miguel's dad, there was just no payoff to it. It was funny, like a waste.
It's funny you say that, because when I started it, I texted my coworker after watching. I think it was the first 2 episodes. Basically, is where you're dealing with his dad, and I said to her, I go, clearly he's gonna appear at the end. He's gonna come back or find Miguel in America or whatever. And I literally convinced myself that at the end, Terry Silver was gonna bring in some new senseis, and Miguel's dad was gonna walk up, and we were gonna find out that Terry somehow
Miguel's dad is
tracked
him
down or something like that. And it wasn't so much disappointing for me that he didn't come back, but I do agree it was kind of just 2
what's the
episodes,
point?
one and done, and then what did Miguel learn from that? Just that his mom didn't lie to him.
Nothing.
You didn't do that, you know what I mean?
Johnny still loves him.
It was more of an excuse to give Robbie and Johnny a road trip to kind of force them to get over their shit versus an actual.
And their time together in Mexico was awesome. Beating up the surfer guys that scammed Miguel.
Let's be specific. Beating up Kano, because that's
right.
The moment he said a word, I went, "Oh shit, Kano's here!"
Yeah.
The only good part of the Mortal Kombat movie, and Not the only good part, but one of the good parts. That's a different discussion for another day.
Start to finish, like, and they brought back my man Mike Barnes, bro, the bad
Mike
boy
Barnes.
of Cobra Kai.
See, now that would be my complaint. Is I was so happy with the way they brought him back, and again,
he should have had a bigger role in the finale.
Yeah, like,
he should.
I was convinced that he was working for Terry, and like the whole like burning up the business was all like just like some ploy to fuck with Danny a little bit, and then at the end when the limo gets stolen, I'm thinking, oh man, what did Terry do this time? And then it was him, and I was like, oh, see, I knew he was fucking working for Terry, but then he was just angry, and I'm like, well, what are you mad at Danny for? Like
Mexico.
But it was just kind of like. He appeared out of nowhere when he stole the limo, and then in that big fight in Terry Silver's house, he gets knocked out in the beginning, and the whole time you knew he was gonna appear at the end to save the day. But like, I wish it would have been cool to see the four of them fighting together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, him getting knocked out so early was
this
not a
But
good.
it sounds like they didn't give him much time to train to be able to do the fight scenes. So they were like, "What do we do here? Let's knock him out early." And then make Chosen fight the whole world with Johnny.
Bro, Chosen was amazing in this season.
So good.
Oh my god!
Amazing. I mean, he
it's funny because the way the last season ended with him Chosen like coming back, I'm like, oh, this is kind of gonna get weird.
I had the same exact response.
He fucking was the best part of the season to me. Like he was incredible.
He was good. I loved seeing him and Johnny kind of like bond over the fact that they both wanted to just kind of kick someone's ass. Like
and they were like trying to one up each other, like of what they did to Daniel or something.
Yeah, like I will say. So my favorite moment, the whole season was really good. I will give them a lot of credit. They held back on the fighting with the younger cast for most of the show, and then at the end they came out with a phenomenal fight scene. Like really well done. Yeah. But my favorite moment, I was upset that there weren't more people to witness it in the show, was Johnny fighting like 4 or 5 of Terry's henchmen, kind of getting his ass beat, but just holding his own and just kept coming and just kept coming. No matter how many to knock them down, he kept coming. My favorite.
I could do this all day.
My favorite, it really felt like that. My favorite moment was when Mike Barnes saves him. And he gets up and grabs his picture and turns around and goes, I did most of this. Kind of like, just so you know, like, you helped me out here. But I really fucked these guys up. I'm badass, you know? Like, it was just such a perfect Johnny moment. It was so good.
Yeah.
I do think
awesome. Like, my thing is when him and Chosen are sitting there talking with each other, and Johnny's like, yeah, I ruined his life in high school.
Yeah.
And Chosen's like, yes, we fought to the death. But
that's what I was saying. They just kept going back and forth. It was amazing.
When really Johnny's good. Like, you fought to the death?
they really made a lot of good decisions. The whole thing where they had to choose one male and female fighter, and Johnny's kind of talking to Miguel, Robbie, and Hawk, and it's like, look, I know you guys are good fighters and whatever. I love that Miguel and Robbie right away were just like, well, we already decided. I mean, Hawk really won.
Yeah.
So, like it was just a good subversion of expectations. You know, instead of having.
I do have another complaint.
What was that?
Them making it so obvious that the ref was cheating.
Oh my god, it was like ridiculous.
Oh, you're out of bounds, and then he would look at Terry like, well, "Did I do it, boss? Are you happy now?"
I think that was like the soap opera.
Do you have my money?
Yeah, it's like a soap opera-ish, you know, like especially when who is it? When Sam punches her like cleanly, and it's obviously a point, and he looks over at Terry and is like, "I guess I gotta call it, guy." Point, doggy do. I'm like, all right, like it's like we get it, you know what I mean? We all get it, you know. I do think I will say
it was a little cheesy, but
this might be an unpopular opinion, but I do think Chosen should have ended up being dead at the end, just to add to the like stakes going into
bro.
I thought he was dead, but
like, I don't know.
How about the fact that they brought back Daniel's girlfriend from the 3rd movie and made her the cousin of his wife?
I like that touch.
That was a creative way to bring her back.
Good touch. And it was a creative way for her to be like, no, you don't understand. Terry Silver's a maniac. Like, he tried to kill me and Daniel. He hung us off a cliff.
Yeah.
While we were planting a bonsai tree.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Get off your high horse. This guy's a maniac, and Daniel should be scared of him.
Yeah.
Like, Daniel should be trying to take him out. You should be helping him. Like, go back.
I really think they did I really enjoyed that. We finally got a season of Johnny and Danny as friends.
Yeah.
Which we saw glimpses of it, and we kind of kept going like, you guys got to stop, talk to each other, stop fighting. You guys could be awesome together.
Yeah, it did kind of get like annoying that it was like, oh, they're finally making progress, and then they go right back to hating each other. It's like, oh, come on,
so
man.
it was nice that this season there was none of that. They just once Johnny basically said, no, I'm gonna help you out. That's it. They could even make fun of each other for the things that used to piss them off. You know what I mean? Like, so that was cool. I also say my other favorite moment was when they had the judges come to like see the dojos, and Johnny went on his little rant about like what Drago, and he's like, and he looks over, and the judge is like, yeah, I get it, like Rocky, and he's like, you get it, man, like, and they're like, yes,
that guy was wasn't he Mighty Ducks?
Which guy? The main
judge, the main judge guy, the one that was speaking for the judge. He was the ice,
in D2 the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
That's the Iceland coach.
That's a deep cut, man. Good call.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that. I did not.
I saw him. I was like, oh shit, it's Iceland. Yeah. I was like, yeah. And he was all hyped up about Rocky. I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you, man. Like they do such a good job with this show, like bringing in like nostalgic pieces without banging you over the head with it. And still to this day, like my favorite character on the show is Daniel's wife.
Oh,
because
she's amazing.
She's fantastic.
She laughs more than anybody on the show when she's just like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that your Okinawan assassin was going to be sleeping on our couch."
Yeah.
Like she just constantly points out the absurdity of the show to like the viewer and to everybody else.
Dare I say, she's the first wife character written for a show that like the world unanimously likes. People hated Skylar White, and as well as good as she was.
Well, she was. She had her moments.
I don't have any complaints
reason
for her.
why.
I thought she was good, but everything she did make sense. But like, this is the first time where we have a wife character that doesn't really nag, but also kind of puts their husband in place, and no one's got a problem with it. Like that's how good the show is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's because they have her point out the absurdity of shit. Like when they're like out on a double date and they're like, "Oh, have you heard about their warring karate dojos?"
Right.
Like,
I will say, in my opinion, probably the most ridiculous moment on the show was Johnny having Miguel and Robbie fight it out. Which, like, the thought behind it made sense, but then, like, they're beating the fuck out of each other on, like, the second balcony, and he's just watching.
Yeah, as soon as they went upstairs, like, first of all, I thought they went into somebody's apartment, and then they were like,
stairwell, I guess, right?
And then they were like, oh no, it's a stairwell, and then they're on the balcony. I'm like, somebody's getting thrown off the damn balcony again.
I'm like,
Johnny,
here we go up there and do something. Like, he's just watching, going, oh shit, oh god, oh no.
He's like, all right, guys, stop it. Stop. Oh, shit.
But again, though, expectation subversion, right? The moment they got into a serious situation, Robbie and Miguel both learning from the adults' mistakes, basically just were like, yo, I fucked up, man. My bad. And then they got over it. You know, that was cool. That was definitely cool.
Definitely was.
I love the show.
Now,
I really do hope they do a season 6.
If there is a season 6, like,
I think there will be.
Back in.
I'll tell you right now, if there's a season 6.
Every season they brought in a new character or a new set of characters or...
Hillary Swank.
Mark my words. That's the only, I guess, character from the Karate Kid verse. But what I want, if do a season 6 and it goes to China or wherever it goes for that tournament, the 3 ninjas from the 3 Ninjas movie, they gotta show up. We gotta see them as adults because in 3 Ninjas 2, they went to some China kung fu tournament.
Yeah, but that's hard to do because there's legitimately, I think every 3 Ninjas movie was played by different kids.
Well, but I can't remember the guy's name now. Mike, whatever. He does UFC and all stuff now, or MMA now. But he is still into acting. He still has his social media.
Yeah, but he wasn't even in the first 2. He was in 3 Ninjas High Noon.
Who gives a shit?
One with Hulk Hogan.
As long as his name is Colt,
Danger
and he's
Mountain,
wearing
whatever
the
it was
outfit.
called.
As long as he wears the outfit, the mask, and they call him Rocky, Tum Tum, or Colt, they got to be in the show.
I think
Come
he was
on,
Colt.
Man.
I used to love those movies, man.
I
That's
still
so funny.
do. 3 Ninjas 1 is still fantastic to this day.
Yeah, you could definitely bring back. You could definitely bring back the 3 Ninjas for me. I'm all about that.
I would be. Can you imagine if they crossed over those universes though? 3 Ninjas and Karate
That'd be
Kid?
funny.
That would be fantastic.
First we feast, then we felony. That's like one of my favorite lines.
Oh god, that movie is my childhood. I fucking love it.
Yeah, 100%.
Even when they're following the kids and like slow it down, slow it down.
Yeah.
It's just so good. Like, The
Great.
whole Home Alone, but the ninja style is just fantastic. Anyway, that's a whole
Yeah,
other,
exactly.
that's another conversation to have too. I wish that
That
was
was
on
a great
Amazon
callback.
Prime. I would do a watch party for that. But I would love that if they did that. That'd be fantastic.
Now, let me ask you a question, right? I can't remember this, and I should remember this. I've seen the movie probably 1,000 times. Did Chosen's uncle die in Karate Kid 2?
He not in that movie. No, I think at
Not-
a later,
yeah, not in
at
the
a
movie.
later time.
Sammo Hung's still alive, right?
Yeah.
So why haven't they? Should have brought him back.
Well, Sammo Hung, I mean, I think long been retired, but I don't know if I'm trying to. I'm pretty
He
sure they
doesn't do
talked
any-
about the uncle dying though in.
I
in
think
Karate
they
Kid
did, right?
3.
In the
I don't
No,
remember.
in
I don't
Karate
really
Kid
remember
3?
now, but I think in Karate Kid 3. I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time since I watched the original.
that's what I'm saying. I
I've seen the
couldn't
original
remember if his
Karate
character
Kid recently,
was dead or
but
alive.
the 2 and 3 I haven't watched in a long time.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Did
if
they
his
mention it when Daniel went back to Okinawa
Maybe that's
and
what I'm
Cobra
thinking
Kai?
of. Maybe that's what I'm thinking
character-
Yeah.
I
of.
was trying to remember that too. You know,
I could have
because
sworn
I was
they mentioned
surprised.
they referenced.
I know
the-
Sammo Hung's
the-
been long retired, but like he could have came out of retirement just to do a quick cameo.
I even forgot that Sammo Hung played the uncle. Like that's how fucking long ago it was.
It was Sammo Hung, right? I'm not mistaken about that.
I want to say no. I'm not racist, so they don't all look alike to me. I'm gonna I'm gonna Google it right now. Hold on. Karate Kid 2.
I'm looking it up right now.
Was chosen.
Did you guys think while you guys are looking?
No,
did you guys
I
think?
think you're
Oh,
thinking
it
of
definitely
Danny
wasn't Sammo
Kamakona.
Hung.
Yeah, no, it's a different guy.
It definitely
What'd you
wasn't
say,
Sammo
Fred?
Hung.
did you guys think Reese died
Yeah,
when
so
he got stabbed?
that's probably
Yeah.
my other little nitpick is like they should have had him dead. Honestly, like listen, I love Kreese and he's a great villain and all that stuff, but when he got stabbed, I was legit like, oh shit, like it was a big moment, and then the show was like ending,
yeah.
so I was like, damn, like that's a crazy way to end it. But like it's one of those things where it's like they wouldn't have been afraid to pull their punches, so it would have been cool. But then like with the catch up and just him walking out and his little old man walked, like I'm just like, oh, come on, dude, like
Yeah,
it was such a silly way to end it. It's, again, very soap opera-ish to me,
yeah.
But I guess they had to leave it open, right? My thing is Terry Silver's not dead. I mean, he is
No.
rich. He clearly has access to lawyers and all that shit. Like, why is his story done?
He'll
at
be
the end of the
out.
season. You know what I mean? He'll be out for sure.
He'll be out. It's
So-
just my thing is now though, like, well, the tournament we know, Miyagi Do and Eagle Fang or Miyagi Fang, they're in the tournament, so they're gonna go.
Yeah.
What kind of Cobra Kai is gonna show up? Whether it's Kreese, Terry, whoever. Who out of those kids that threw their jerseys or their gis on the fucking ground are
I
gonna
think
come
that
back?
was my biggest nitpick was that footage they showed. While I understand it would have turned some kids against Terry,
Yeah.
why? Like for example, Skyler, I think, or Kyler, his name is. Why did he care?
Tyler, yeah.
There's never
Right.
been one part of him in the
Trying to get-
entire show where he's like
Right.
sort of
He's
redeemable.
just a douchebag.
Yeah,
Like,
He's
so-
a bully douchebag the entire show, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden he's like,
Right.
I'm gonna be
by
a
the
bully
way,
douchebag.
I love the fact that Hawk goes, "Don't worry about it. Everybody this kid bullies gets his ass
Yeah.
kicked by them anyway."
That was a
I was
great
like, that
callback.
was amazing.
No,
This
but like
guy
I
doesn't
remember
learn.
when he took his jacket off and was all disappointed. I'm like, nah, I don't like you anymore, Terry. In my head, I was like,
Yeah.
why? This guy is everything you want to be. He's got money. He's got power. Like, why would you betray him? Like I don't know. Like
I love that's the line though, right? Like he's like all about like picking on kids, being a douchebag, but like he refuses to cheat at karate tournaments.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
like fuck out of here.
And
Like,
I
that's
feel
the
like Kenny,
yeah,
that was his name, right? Kenny.
Oh yeah.
He shouldn't be redeemed. I feel like he should stay Cobra Kai and be like the new face of it.
well,
how they were
that's,
trying to
I
make
guess,
him
the
out
one
to be.
thing- I think the one thing they have to be careful with if they keep going is that not everyone who joins Cobra Kai and learns those lessons and blah 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 should be so easily like turned against Cobra Kai. You know what I mean? Like you need to have some villains on the Cobra Kai side. So I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like
Oh.
Robbie made sense. Even Tori kind of made sense. But Kenny, from the moment he got to California, wherever this thing, he was bullied. He was picked on. He was kind of treated like shit. So it almost would make sense that he would full blown dive into Cobra Kai.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So
like,
I agree with
stick
you. I
with
mean,
it.
you know, him turning, I guess, because Robbie was pushing for it most of the time. I guess that's the explanation there. But I kind of agree. You know, at the same time too, I think I was talking to my coworker, and I was just trying to say that the people who saw that video was a very small portion of Cobra Kai. It wasn't, you know, he had how many locations across how many areas in the valley and all that stuff.
Did he open them yet though? I thought they weren't open yet.
No, he did.
Yeah,
and he took over. What was it? The Torpedo or Toledo one or whatever it was.
Karate, whatever it was.
He took that over.
No, there was he opened a ton.
He had quite a few.
Way I understood it. Yeah, like, you know, he had basically had stores all over the place at that point, or locations. I mean, dojos.
Yeah.
So, you know,
but now
saw 20 kids out of the entire army of Cobra Kai, like.
But now let me ask you a question, like, because that footage came out,
and it was on YouTube.
That's true.
Yeah, they're not going to let him into the international tournament now.
Well, maybe they'll let Cobra Kai into the international tournament, but they don't have to let him. With that girl, the one that the Asian woman,
right? She's gonna take over Cobra Kai because didn't Terry make a deal where like she's 50% or something like that?
Right. So I think she's basically the owner,
or
you know what I mean? So she'll take over.
Or Mike Barnes finds that contract and he has 50%.
Right. That would be.
Remember that?
That's true. They dropped that little hint there that there's a contract.
No, that was only if he won.
Maybe a technicality. Who knows?
Was it?
Who knows?
I thought it was.
That's what he said. He said it was only if I fucking won.
Yeah.
I don't remember that part.
I will tell you. I mean, I did like all the F-bombs this season, especially when they went to Kreese and they got him to spill the beans on Terry, and then they slid him the lawyer's number, and it just said,
I love that. No mercy.
No fucking mercy or whatever. I was like, hell yes.
I fucking love that.
No mercy.
You gotta admit though, I can't think of the actor's name. Martin Cove, I think his name is, who plays Kreese.
Yeah, Martin Cove.
He's getting up there in age. Like, he doesn't look like he could beat anybody up. The quick fight scenes, I'm like, oh, that didn't look so clean. You know?
Like Mr. Miyagi looked old in the original Karate Kids, but he still looked like he could kick your ass.
Well, he also never did like crazy moves. You know, like he basically stood there when they threw a punch, he caught their hand and flipped them. That was basically where he just dodged it and they hit the wall. Like that was his fighting style.
The most you could see it from him, and it was an obvious body double, was when he fights Cobra Kai and they're in the skeleton suits.
Yes,
like it's the most obvious body double of all time.
Suddenly it switches to like a skinny guy who can nut you
like a 6'6" black guy. Like that's.
I love that they kept up with the theme of adults beating the shit out of kids. I love I love how that just comes
they get
through
away with it,
all
right?
seasons.
You don't see anybody complaining about that online. They get away with it. They kick the shit out of these kids in high school.
Terry Silver flies in adults from across the world to beat the shit out of kids. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah. And everyone applauds the show. This show's fantastic.
But if you think back to it, like besides all the three original Karate Kid movies were like where these sociopaths were doing crazy shit to children.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. Like the first Karate Kid, you got John Kreese going absolutely like abusing his guys, turning them into like little soldiers to go and beat up Daniel constantly.
Yeah.
Right. In the second one, they go to Okinawa, where they have a literal death match is the answer to Daniel stealing somebody's girl.
Yep.
Is like now they have to have a fight to the death, right? And then in Karate Kid 3, Terry Silver shows up and is psychologically abusing Daniel while also having Mike Barnes throw him off a mountain.
Yep.
Like,
and beat up his girlfriend.
And no one ever calls the cops. It's amazing.
No, instead it's like, the cops can't deal with this. I have to with karate.
Right. That's what makes it so ridiculous in the best way, though.
I have to take it back. I got to end it on this. My favorite moment actually was the callback to the Matrix when Danny was fighting Terry in Terry's apartment, in Stingray's apartment, and he goes to punch him, and Terry moves and he punches a hole in the cement wall.
Yeah.
He hits it twice. I was like, since when is fucking Danny, Ralph Macchio, that strong that he's gonna punch a hole?
That was like the Dark Knight Rises when Bane is beating the shit out of the pillar.
But at least Batman. Tom Hardy looks like he could actually punch a hole in some shit. You know, Ralph Macchio. I love. You know, listen, I like the character. I like the show. No one believes he's gonna punch you and hurt you. I mean, Ralph Macchio has got the skinniest body and the smallest hands in the world. It's like, come on now.
You know what I thought was weird? Now I'm thinking about. Go ahead.
I said I do wish they did a callback to Karate Kid 3 when Terry Silver goes to fight Chosen and he starts going, whoa!
Yeah. Oh my god, that would have been amazing.
And
Now
then
that you
Chosen
say
finally
that.
kicks his ass and he goes, whoa!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that you
That
say
would've been
that, I do wish
amazing.
they did that. Yeah. Although one of the
That's
most
such a missed
badass
opportunity for me.
lines. Terry and Chosen have the two most badass lines in the entire season. When Chosen goes, "I'm not afraid to kill," and Terry goes, "And I'm not afraid to die." I was so amped. I was like, "Bro, go at it, man! I can't wait." That got me pumped.
And I loved because they also had like kind of like a almost like a motivating thing also, where it's like Terry was it's either listening to you but they're not hearing you or something like that.
Yeah, that was good too.
And I loved that line. And then when Chosen goes, I wasn't fighting for, I was fighting what was it?
What did he say?
What did he say?
Yeah. That was a good one too.
I'm not fighting
To protect, I think he was saying, or
yeah, it was like man, I don't know. It was like Danny was fighting for something where I was fighting him or something like that.
Yes.
And I was like, man, that's such a good line.
Yeah.
By Chosen. It was awesome.
They had
Chosen has some of the best lines in the whole show. In the whole
Yo,
season.
the fact that he rolls up to a nightclub with the size in his jacket, I'm like, this guy's a maniac. I love it.
So good.
Oh man, and they're all together.
He's like, I've seen Daniel break 6 blocks of ice. Do you think they have any blocks of ice in
He's
Right.
like, nah, not like that. Not like that here.
He's like, show him, Daniel, show him. He's like, I don't think they have blocks of ice in here.
I was dying just with the Mike Barnes when Danny and him were talking and Chosen just and like they were kind of like play like kind of like, oh, you still have the moves, and all of a sudden Chosen just tackles him. And
Yeah, it just kicks.
I love when you're like, no,
through the
we're on the
table.
same side now, and Chosen's like, oh, then you might want to call an ambulance for the other guys. Like what? Fucked up like 5 movies.
Yeah,
guys.
it's amazing.
It's just so good. The season was really excellent, worth another watch.
I
for
will
sure.
say though that like them burning his shop down was a little much for me.
No, but that's why I had in my mind Mike Barnes was still working with Terry, and that was like all a part of some long-term master plan by Terry to mess with Danny. That's dramatic.
The one thing that now that I'm thinking about it that was kind of strange was when they did the flashback to Terry and Kreese training back in Korea or wherever they were doing that. He's like, oh, he starts talking about, I think I have a student that's going to be like best in the world or whatever. And referencing Johnny, I'm like, bro, like, that's years away, man. That's not you. Like, come on.
That seemed that was a little too,
it was too forced.
Where it's like, of course it's going to connect somehow. Like,
it was a forced connection. It was like,
that's the thing is like they were in the Korean War, right?
I believe so.
It was Vietnam.
It was Vietnam.
The Vietnam War, right? So that was in the 60s and 70s. That means they're training. Like, how old was Johnny? Like,
well, that's the thing.
3?
In the first
Karate Kid, promising student.
in the first Karate Kid, Johnny must have been like 16 or I'm sorry, 17 maybe, right? He was a senior.
Or 18. Yeah, he was a senior.
Yeah. So that whole thing with him and Terry definitely was like when Johnny was, taking shits in a diaper still.
Right. It made no sense.
It didn't make any sense whatsoever. But
all right, boys. We hit an hour and a half. I'm gonna call time on that one because next week we're gonna go through Andor for 3.5 hours.
Oh boy.
Andor,
are we gonna try it or to do the thing?
What the watch party? We can do that on Friday.
The reacting, yeah.
Put it on.
But we got this 3 episodes though. Like we got to figure that out.
We might have to just do one episode at a time and just kind of post them and get them all up.
If I'm around, I'll drop in with you guys too.
What we might want to do, maybe for Patreon, we should do like a Mystery Science theater thing. We can watch it when we want, but then we'll pick a Friday or Saturday. We'll pick a weekend, watch an episode, and kind of talk the whole time, like just kind of talk shit about it, and that'll go on Patreon. Kind of like make we may not just make fun of it. We can deep dive it. We can kind of review it as we're watching it.
Possibly.
We'll kick it around. We'll develop it. But keep an eye out for anybody who watches this on YouTube. We're getting the Patreon going with some exclusive content from as many of us on the GGEN side as possible. Yep. Thanks for jumping in. Thanks, guys, for taking an hour and a half and bullshitting with me, making me feel welcome after 2 weeks. One shot. Thanks for jumping into the chat. And hopefully you feel better and get over the kidney stone. And keep an eye out if you didn't watch this live on Twitch. The replay will be out Wednesday on the 21st. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday. This weekend is the Multiversal Podcast. And as always, join us everywhere you can. Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I think I got them all. TikTok. And keep an eye out for all the announcements. We'll see you next week.